and welcome back to Andertons TV. I'm Oz, and I am here with...
Ollie.
This isn't John and Ben. Yeah.
No, we kidnapped them. They're in my basement. This is the large-haired double O duo that no one's been calling for.
Yes, well, this is a little bit different to the normal Sounds Like episode because usually we'd have John and Ben running around the shop. So this video is about Oasis. Me and Ollie thought that we should be the ones to do a little Sounds Like Oasis thing. Also, I think John and Ben are a little bit too good to do this. I'm not gonna lie.
And I don't care enough. And also because they were busy practicing. However, we have scrambled together some gear to bring you Oasis on a budget.
Yeah, and this video serves as part of a wider thing that Andertons are doing, like a big promotion and a big celebration of Oasis to kind of celebrate their new tour. So yeah, this is it. We thought we'd just kind of see if we can find, I don't know, some products that were going to do the sound, do the thing for a cheaper price. I have grown up listening to Oasis, being in a house full of Oasis. But you are much more of the expert when it comes to the understanding of the gear and stuff like that.
I'm the one with the problems. Yeah, absolutely. No, Oasis, huge part of my growing up and kind of going through as a guitarist. I think because they're they play slightly simpler songs in terms of from a guitar standpoint.
Easy to get into, easy to
get into. Can't escape it from the radio.
No,
certainly you couldn't in the early 2000s, late 90s when I was a wee boy.
Yeah,
and today it's that interspersed with Galway Girl, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And there's just so much around them, and so as perhaps one of those absolute last mega cannot escape from them rock and roll bands.
Yeah, especially British bands as well.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Don't be afraid to keep it simple. Turn it up, and what's around at the time we now have reflected in some other choices that we've made, but
the brands aren't wrong. The brands aren't wrong, for sure.
They've certainly in their careers have been orange and high watt users.
Marshalls.
Yeah, Marshalls, Wem, a famous dual amp that Noel had in the early days, and then pretty much moved on to Vox in the studio.
Again, another British brand,
yeah, absolutely. So yes, more British manufacturing, including Gibson.
Yes. So, I mean, typically, like say, John and Ben were usually walking around the shop. Today, Ollie and myself and Taylor behind the camera, we've kind of all had a bit of a brainstorm and tried to figure out what might be best. Rather than doing it in the shop, we just thought we'd all get it over. Should we go through amps first?
Let's go through who we are.
Oh, who we are first, okay.
Who we are. So I've taken on the role of Noel. Many amongst you in the camera are screaming, but what about Noel Gallagher's signature Riviera? And you're right, and that's a fantastic guitar. But for the budget we're on, which we were trying to go well under the £1,500 budget, it was a little bit too fantastic.
Yeah.
So bearing in mind that this is the budget take on the Oasis sound, I figured that we'd go to perhaps when they didn't have quite as much money and go to the Les Paul days, which
when they were getting given guitars for free.
Yes, they were getting given guitars because it pays to connect by Johnny Marr.
Smiths, to know Johnny Marr.
Yeah, it's good to know Johnny Marr. I've heard. Yes, so very much Les Pauls of the time.
You could have got a custom, but it's also.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on the Live Forever video. He's got an Epiphone that's a sunburst. This is the faded cherry sunburst with a 50s neck. The pickups are the same, the 50s and the 60s, but the necks are a little bit different. But yeah, this one coming in at $599 as of today is kind of the where I've aimed for and saved me a bit of money on the lovely Noel Gallagher signature.
And I have been elected, I'm not sure who made the decision, but I am Bonehead.
You are the Bonehead.
I am the Bonehead.
Stroke the Gem Archer. We'll touch on that a little bit, but yeah, mostly Bonehead inspired rig.
Yeah.
There's kind of the cut off, I think, post Be Here Now, when before that live they didn't do quite as many lead lines from the record. They just turned up, did the gig, because they're Oasis and everyone's there for vibes.
Yeah.
And then you can hear when Gem turns up in the band and they have a little bit of a rearrange, they make a little bit more concerted effort to get some of those record lines and sound in the stadiums, because obviously they're playing stadiums then because they're Oasis, the biggest British band of the time.
Yeah.
So that's why we've kind of stroked Bonehead with Gem, because we're hitting a few more of the lead lines that perhaps Bonehead would have done live at the time.
And again, another artist who just has pretty much used a Riviera for the entire, I think the entire time he's been in Oasis, right?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be there's some early photos of him with a with a Les Paul. Then they went out and bought, I believe he had a Sheraton.
Yeah.
But it was the Sheraton of the 90s. And the Sheraton today, which we could have got, it would have just about been in budget. I think we've actually got those on a deal at the moment.
Right.
But the Sheraton of today is now a reissue with a tailpiece, as opposed to the one of the 60s reissue with a tailpiece, as opposed to the one of the 90s and 2000s, which had stop tail bridges. Which is why in this instance, we have gone for the rather handsome Epiphone 335 Dot, as it has big humbuckers and a stop tail bridge, and as I'm sure you're going to hear, these guys are a powerful, powerful band with quite a bit of grunt.
Yes. See, that was the thing that I think surprised everyone in this room, was the fact that when we were just kind of dialing in tones to kind of play through this stuff, I said to Ollie, I was like, this is a lot of gain.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's a lot of gain on those records. I think we always, when we think of these like British Britpop bands, we kind of think they're jangly. I think it's, your brain kind of falls very quickly into this like Smithsy kind of guitar, but like you assume it's just going to be kind of jangly. We think about Voxes and those kind of things, but then you realise it's actually pretty. That's pretty hot rod.
That
like,
first album is gnarly.
Yeah.
Like absolutely gnarly. And we've done a couple of tunes from Definitely Maybe, and it's I think one of the best ones that shows it off is Supersonic, which is actually their first single. And the rhythm guitar on that Bonehead is just grinding. It's like
grungy,
it's
man.
So absolutely.
I think it's a product of the time though as well. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that grungy time, and it's everyone was on the DS2s and the sludgy things.
They, I mean, obviously, musical journalists of the time will obviously lament my take on this, but because I was 2. But but as I believe it, Oasis were kind of slightly marketed as the working man's rock group.
Yeah.
And the Britpop thing was kind of more associated with the London bands. Blur, obviously, a bit into that, but bands like Elastica, Suede. Yeah, absolutely. Really, really cool. And like pushing the boundary a little bit more, whereas Oasis was very much rock and roll. Here's the best of British rock in a new band with a very, very handsome lead singer. Let's have it.
Yeah.
And the sound is very much, let's have it.
Yeah. Because they don't actually use that much niche gear. I mean, especially for the time, the Voxes are like pretty abundant, and I mean, it's a very classic British amps, down the middle, loud, valvey, open, beefy, and even when it comes to pedals, they're using TS9 and like I say, like Echo-E pedals, and like a lot of tricks of the trade that a lot of guitarists were doing at the time. So I think that puts even more pressure on us a little bit, because I feel like a responsibility that even though it's quite a simple setup, trying to dial it in to kind of get it to feel right feels a little bit more more pressure.
A little bit, and I think quite a big part of it.
Nuanced.
Yeah, I think quite a big part of it as well is because they were buying, at the time, they were buying the more affordable amplifiers that perhaps didn't become classics, and therefore there aren't reissues of them available now.
Right.
You know, if they were on I think the Blues Deluxe was just about getting started when they were around. Obviously the Vox AC30, but that wasn't as quite the mass-produced amp it is now. You know, there were none of the Orange reissues then. High Watt only made really high-end stuff. It becomes a little more difficult. So amp-wise, for Noel, of the time, of course, go watch that Pedal Show interview with Noel Gallagher if you're one of the 2 people who haven't already. It is superb. He had a Marshall valve state, which was a preamp valved solid state Marshall, which was actually quite metal. It was marketed as a metal amp, and there's this top end grind that goes through that first record, and I wanted something that would basically do that. And I think the thing that does that fantastically is Orange, with the gain as so. And he paired that Marshall with a WEM, which was a big, powerful, again, solid state amplifier. I mean, they didn't have to replace loads of them because they're reliable on tour. That's the big thing with solid state. You can lean on it. But that was a lot more headroom, a lot more mid-range grunt, and those two married give me the Orange Super Crush.
Yeah. Not to say that if we had the budget to go stereo, I'm sure Ollie would have gone stereo, but...
Yeah, I know. I had my hands tied up a bit like Ben and John right now.
Yeah.
But the Super Crush, I think fits the bill. 100 watts of proper old MOSFET-y solid state power.
Yeah.
Really, really good speaker as well, and it's keeping up with the valve amp next to me. No bother at all.
Yes. Speaking of which, High Watt, another British brand, T20/10. So we have the 20 watt tube amp. It's really loud.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the volume does get pretty gnarly once you start up in the gain, but we've maxed the treble. I think the one thing I noticed was that even with the treble absolutely gunned, it still seemed, all the tone up, bridge pickup, it still kind of seemed quite dark.
It was still quite dark, yeah.
But it does have that mid-range British 90s thing that I just think of when I think of Britpop. So it might not be perfect, but I think it's pretty good. I think I think in isolation, both these you could probably poke holes in, but I think together it does sound pretty gnarly. Like
we've made a bit of a wall. I think it is good.
And I think you could with these 2 amps, you could probably do a lot of the Britpop stuff. To be honest, I was thinking when we were playing, I was like, this is kind of suede-y as well.
Yeah,
I was like, it's very like that. Anyway, just absolutely guns, treble, bit of reverb. I was kind of fooling around with the game with Don't Look Back with Anger. All I did was turn off my golden plexi on the floor, which I'll get into, and then just turn the drive like other side of the clock. Do you know what I mean? And then for the Supersonic and stuff like that, just upped it again, and it was just sounded great.
The big thing I did with that one just to get there, because we started it and it was quite big and open, and the whole thing with Oasis, and you hear it on the record, you hear them in the stadium, people will think, it's quite a lot of compression.
Yeah.
And they never used compressor pedals. I mean, in the studio, at the time, there'd probably some BBE Sonic Maximizer or something like that, but it is the loudness of the amplifier that's creating that compression.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done with this one. So we've basically knocked it to 10 watt mode and turned it up. Yeah. Have a smaller amp and use more of it, because that brought out that mid-range grind. Really hear it on Columbia.
Yeah.
It's like right on the nose.
Yeah. Like, dare I say, like slightly Queenie?
Right, I see what you mean.
I mean that kind of British cranked thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
it has that
100%. You need the power valves working really hard to achieve that kind of sound. So buy a smaller amp and turn it up more.
Crank it. Just without the plexi, which I'll get into.
And with electricity.
With electricity.
Needs electricity, this one. Oz has entered the room.
Yeah, no, it sounds great, man. It's so fun, especially with Bonehead playing a lot of the bar chords as well, which is Ollie told me about. I didn't know that, but Noel playing a lot of the open kind of stuff with all the variations.
A few planned things I think of their shows was Noel just going, look, you play bar chords if you're cool with that. I'll play open chords, and it helps create that texture.
Yeah,
if you've got two guitars playing the same thing, you might think a little bit more monotony or something like that, but it just brings such a wall to things. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely, and it just sounds great together. And bar chords are my home as well, so it sounds great.
So the Super Crush 100 with an Epiphone Les Paul. I have the gain reasonably high, probably about sort of 2 o'clock, 1:30. The harmonic content's there. There's obviously a little bit of reverb because we're playing big gigs, we're Oasis. It's just got that cut. There's a top end attack which is just there with Noel. Yeah, just
classic rock, man. It just sounds like classic British rock.
Yeah.
It's great. And then on the floor we have a couple of pedals, not too much. Again, like the rigs are pretty simple, and they kind of went for the quite bread and butter tricks of the trade, you know. But the plexi was just to kind of marshallify the high wall a little bit further. They're like distant cousins. They're not too different from each other really. It does add that Marshall top end to it that you'd kind of expect from almost an 800 or something like that. It's pretty good. So if I kind of go same riff again, Supersonic. It just kind of marshallifies it.
That's it, yeah, absolutely.
The other two I have, it's not like, mandatory. I wouldn't say it's mandatory.
Well, yeah.
But the Electric Lady, Moore, that's purely for Columbia.
Oh, it was great for Columbia.
Because we listened to it and we're like, I think there's a phaser on it.
There's some comb filtery, flangery thing going on, and obviously we're on the budget, and so we went to Moore, the absolute, such a good flanger for the money.
It sounds awesome. So good. Yeah, I mean, I really like nasty flanges as well. Like I really like just playing some chords and having that. Great, I'm gonna get one.
Yeah, and especially when you've got a 2-guitar band, you can get away with something like that. Yeah. When you've got a quite bread and butter thing on the other side,
super harsh.
It brings so much texture to it. Yeah. And they really lean into that when they play Columbia live.
Yeah. Oh, it's sick. And then lastly, the Memory Boy. Just as an analog delay for the Morning Glory.
Yes.
Beep, 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 beep. It's fine. Yeah. And any feedback related things, if we need to start kicking it off with the feedback, it's pretty easy to kind of go.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty easy, man. I think this sounds great. Yours is even simpler for Mr. Noel.
Yes, for Mr. Noel, I've gone even simpler because there's quite a bit of gain in the orange Super Crush, plus actually quite a nice reverb.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you literally had a space echo, a lot of it for preamp.
Everyone had a space echo though as well.
Yeah. And now they're really expensive.
Now they're really expensive
because they're all broken.
There's one there. That was really nice, and that one's broken as well.
My point.
Yeah.
And layering up with a tube screamer, I think everyone would have when recording, especially for that solo of Supersonic. So if I'm in kick-in Oasis mode. it just feeds that right back in, puts the nose on those lead lines, which you're going to need because my bandmate is really quite loud. And yeah, just picks it all through.
I mean, the resistance you have to not vibrato every one of those notes.
Yeah,
well.
that's it. Yeah.
It's really hard to try and bend a note and not
give it a bit of BB King. Yeah, so for clarity, we've gone for the Cafe Lime. I went for the Cafe Lime because obviously it's a budget. Also, it's a slightly harder clipping tube screamer circuit with that high-end control, which I really wanted, just because there is that cut. We've got a Marshall AVT one side of the rig, the early rig anyway, and I felt it really helps, and I really like that about the Lime. Following that, we have the Re-Echo from Moore, just a classic digital delay sound. It's got some other versions of stuff in there, like a tape echo, which obviously the RE201 was, but also DD3, which Noel used later on as just a really solid delay there. And gives more of that stadium grandeur that you need for a ballsy sound.
I mean, there's not really much more to show. I mean, Oasis is pretty simple, man. It's pretty simple, and that's the beauty of it, simplicity.
They're Oasis. Volume. They're a summer band. Enjoy your summer. By liking and subscribing the Andertons YouTube channel.
Do.
We're giving away pedals every 10,000 subscribers.
One of those, and you can sell that. And then buy all of this.
Or even buy Oasis tickets.
Oh, maybe. If you're interested in anything that we have here, please hit the links below. We deliver internationally as well.
Absolutely. Subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Ollie.
I've been Oz. Bye!